Have you ever stopped to think, maybe everything we say isn't actually what we mean? That everything we've been told about communication, connection, understanding, clarity, might actually be a well-packaged illusion? Yep, we've been lied to. Communication isn't just about expressing yourself, it's about power, about influence, about control. And if you think that emoji you sent was harmless, think again. Let's rewind. Way back, like 30,000 years ago, our ancestors didn't text or tweet. They grabbed some charcoal and started drawing animals and stick figure hunts on cave walls. Cute, right? But also, manipulative. Think about it. Who decided which stories got told on those walls? Whose kill was the biggest? Whose spirit animal was the most badass? That cave wall was the first media outlet. They painted their version of the truth, their highlight reel, the first ever content creation. And guess what? No fact checkers, no dissenting opinions, just raw, unfiltered propaganda painted onto the very fabric of the earth. We look at those paintings now and call them art, history. But what if they were just the first attempts to control the narrative, to make sure their tribe, their version of events was the one that got passed down? Makes you think, man, and it wasn't just about bragging rights, these paintings were also about survival. They were teaching tools, ways to pass down knowledge about hunting, tracking, dangerous animals. They were sending a message to future generations. This is what we know, this is how we survive, don't forget it. So yeah, cave paintings, they weren't just pretty pictures, they were power moves. The original influencers, man, they figured out how to hack the system before the system even existed. Fast forward a few thousand years to Mesopotamia, humans invent writing. And you know what they used it for? Love letters? Poetry slams? Nope. It was for tracking crops, taxes, and who owed what to whom. Basically, receipts. Think about that. The first written words weren't about love or loss or the meaning of life. They were about inventory, about control, about keeping track of who had what and who owed what to whom. It was all about power, man. Writing became the tool of the elite. If you could write, you ruled. You dictated the laws, you kept track of the grain, you decided who got what. If you couldn't write, too bad your story didn't matter. You were at the mercy of the scribes, the keepers of the written word. Look at the Egyptians. Hieroglyphics weren't just pretty pictures. They were a complex system of control, used to record history, religion, even taxes. They were a way to solidify the pharaoh's power, to ensure that their version of events was the one that went down in history. So, yeah, writing. It wasn't just about communication, it was about power, about control, about shaping the world in your image. Sound familiar? Fast forward a few more centuries, the year is 1440, Gutenberg rolls out his printing press. Boom, books and newspapers spread across Europe like wildfire. Knowledge for the people? Or was it? Sure, more people could read, but who controlled the printing presses? Who decided what was worth printing and distributing to the masses? It wasn't some democratic utopia, it was the same old story. Rich dudes, the church, the powers that be. Think about it. Before the printing press, knowledge was controlled by the few. Monks painstakingly copied manuscripts by hand. Information trickled out, drop by drop. But Gutenberg's invention? That was like turning on a fire hose. Suddenly, information could be mass-produced, disseminated on a scale never seen before. But here's the catch. Who controlled the flow of that information? Who decided what got printed and what didn't? The people in charge, man. The gatekeepers. They still held the keys to the kingdom, even if the kingdom had gotten a whole lot bigger. So, yeah, the printing press. A revolution in communication? Absolutely. But it was also a tool for control, a way to spread a specific narrative, a specific ideology, to the masses. One narrative, thousands of minds. Sound familiar? Fast forward to the 20th century. Communication gets all academic. We've got guys in tweed jackets with pipes, drawing diagrams on chalkboards, trying to break down this whole communication thing. Harold Lasswell, he drops his famous formula, who says what through what channel to whom with what effect. Sounds simple, right? But think about it, it's basically a recipe for influence, a blueprint for propaganda. Then you got Shannon and Weaver, treating messages like signals on a wire, noisy, fragile, prone to distortion. Important stuff, sure, especially for engineers. But what happens when noise isn't an accident? What if the noise, the distortion, is the whole point? Think about it. Politicians use carefully crafted messages to sway voters. Advertisers use jingles and slogans to get you to buy their products. The media? They bombard us with information, 24/7, shaping our perceptions of the world. These communication models, they're not just academic exercises, they're tools that can be used for good or for evil. They can be used to inform, to educate, to connect. But they can also be used to manipulate, to control, to deceive. So yeah, communication theories, they're not just for academics, they're the blueprints for how we understand and interact with the world. And the people who understand them best, they're the ones who control the narrative. And now, welcome to the digital age, baby. We're drowning in information. 5 billion people on social media, sharing every thought, every burp, every mundane detail of their lives. We're all connected, right? Wrong. We're more isolated than ever. Trapped in our own little echo chambers, fed a steady diet of information that confirms our existing biases. The algorithms, man, they know us better than we know ourselves. They track our every click, every like, every swipe. And they use that information to feed us exactly what we want to see, what we want to hear, whether it's true or not. We think we're in control, but we're being played. Manipulated by tech giants who profit from our attention, our data, our very existence. We're bombarded with fake news, deepfakes, and carefully curated narratives designed to keep us outraged, addicted, and coming back for more. So yeah, the digital age. It's a double-edged sword. It's given us unprecedented access to information, but it's also made us more susceptible to manipulation than ever before. We're all just rats in a digital maze, man, chasing after the next dopamine hit. You think it ends with social media? Think again. We're on the verge of some Black Mirror shit, man. Brain-to-brain communication. No need for phones, words, or even facial expressions. Just pure thoughts beamed straight into your skull. Sounds like science fiction? Think again. Elon and his buddies are already working on it. They're calling it the next frontier of human connection. But let's be real, man. It's creepy as hell. Imagine a world where your thoughts aren't your own, where your innermost secrets, your fears, your desires can be hacked, manipulated, controlled, where the line between reality and virtual reality is blurred beyond recognition. Imagine a world where you can't even trust your own mind, where your thoughts can be used against you, to manipulate you, to control you. That's the future we're facing, man, and it's not pretty. We're talking about the ultimate form of communication, but also the ultimate form of control. Imagine governments being able to beam propaganda directly into your brain, corporations planting subliminal messages in your subconscious. The possibilities are terrifying. So yeah, brain-to-brain communication. It's the next frontier. But be careful what you wish for, man, because once that door is open, there's no closing it. We're talking about a whole new level of mind control. And I don't know about you, but that freaks me the fuck out. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Communication is never neutral. It's filtered, shaped, owned, and used. Every time we speak, post, tweet, or even stay silent, we're choosing a side in a story. Sometimes we're telling the truth. Sometimes we're selling a version of it, so next time someone says, "Let's communicate," you should ask, who's actually in control of the message? Because maybe we've never really had honest communication, just really, really good illusions.